It's okay, we have enough intro. We don't have to worry about it.
No, I can't cut. Hey everybody, welcome to Backishes. I'm Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ben.
Today we're doing Days of Future Past. Not the movie,
Oh.
which is kind of like this, but the comic.
What about the X-Men cartoon?
Not like that either.
What about Ghosts of Christmas Past?
That's Dickens.
Oh.
Yeah, no. I was going to say Dickensian, but it's actually literally Dickens. So,
It's Dickensian Dickens.
yes, this is Claremont. This is Dickensian Claremont.
Oh.
Chris Claremont wrote Days of Future Past. Chris Claremont is like the go-to X-Men writer. Every time that they any epic moment in X-Men history is probably by Chris Claremont, except for recent stuff like House of M and that kind of thing.
So, like, Phoenix Up.
Yes, and Days of Future Past.
Okay.
That's what I can think of.
Yeah, but there's a lot more that he's done. It's just that, those are the ones that are like, those! He also wrote, he helped form the 90s X-Men that we're so familiar with from the cartoon show. So, like, he wrote, like, Jim Lee's X-Men.
Can I go off on a tangent for real quick here?
Go ahead.
Every time I hear the word apocalypse in conjunction with the character, all I can think of is the fact that he has big
Blue
blue
Lips.
lips.
Like that guy from Dungeons and Dragons, the movie.
Yeah, I guess, but like, it's just because of the fact that his name is Apocalypse.
Oh my god.
I've never made that assumption.
And like,
Neither have I,
every
actually.
time we talk about it, I'm like, big blue lips.
Yeah. It's funny how, like, badass and awesome Apocalypse is and how dumb he looks. Like, he looks cool and dumb.
Well, he
has blue lips
it's
that
not that he
extend to his ears, and he has a big A on his belt buckle crotch.
I don't think that's that he looks dumb. I think that he looks like the period that he was created in.
Yes, that's true.
You know what I mean? And then in retrospect, it's like, this is not timeless.
No. I had... when the X-Men action figures started to become huge from Toy Biz,
Yeah.
They had an Apocalypse action figure, and he sucked. Like, he sucked on toast.
Didn't he have an extendable hand?
Yes, he was... Because Apocalypse, one of his, like, defining attributes is that he can get bigger and smaller or whatever. Well, smaller, like, regular size, or bigger, so really just he can grow. And the action figure needed to, like, articulate that in some way. So his arms extended and his legs extended about this much. So, like, his arm... But his, like, he had a big arm, or a big forearm. It extended so, like, you had this little, like, tube. Like, so he
That showed?
Yeah, that
Oh,
showed.
they didn't even make the gauntlet really long and then it covered it?
No. So he's just like, huh, huh. And he was slightly taller than your other action figures.
but-
so dumb.
But still, if you think about the ratio of the action figure height to his height,
yeah, he was slightly
that
taller
could
than
be
them.
significant to them.
Right. Then later, Toy Biz made a better Apocalypse figure who looked like Apocalypse. He wasn't much bigger than the other figures, but they didn't even try at that point. They were more going for, like, likeness rather than function.
They had a set size mold. They're like, no, it has to fit in this box.
Yes, that's true as well. Days of Future Past is a story that everyone points to. They're like, oh, if you love X-Men, Days of Future Past.
Okay.
So much so that Bryan Singer knew, in order to pull the X-Men out of the abyss that he let Brett Ratner fall into, he had to do something bold and comics related. And
What happened with the Abyss? Not the actual Abyss, but, like, what Abyss was this?
Oh, the Abyss was X-Men 3 Last Stand, which was fucking garbage. All he said was Days of Future Past, and everyone in the comics community were like, oh shit, yes. Also because they knew time travel means we can undo all those bad decisions from the last movie. So, it's a timeless moment, it's a timeless story, timeless being a time-traveling story, and I think it nails the time travel pretty well. It's pretty fun, and it's drawn by John Byrne, who's great, and he's also a writer in his own right. He helped kind of script Days of Future Past with Claremont.
Okay.
Byrne is hit or miss when it comes to writing, but his art, especially during this time, which is 1980, top-notch. Top of his game.
What's up with the fact that during this time period, they like this V shape on the front of the character's head? Wolverine's got it. I assume that's Kitty Pryde.
Yes.
They're Beast.
Actually, that's Marvel Girl.
Or Marvel Girl. I'm sorry, Marvel Girl. Beast. She's got it a little bit.
Yeah.
They like the V.
They do like the V.
And Magneto has a weird trident thing.
Yes, he does. He's always had that little thing on his helmet.
Angel even has it a little bit.
Yeah. Now, actually, I should point out most of all those designs were by David Cockrum. So they're all kind of. It's almost because I love Cockrum's designs, but he's the guy who designed Nightcrawler's outfit, and in fact, his costume, like the shoulders, do that V as well.
Yeah,
that could be the cohesion, because in this book, actually, there's a moment where in the original '60s, X-Men, the X-Men had a black and yellow uniform that they all wore, and they all looked the same. So I think Kitty Pryde's
Beast
the only
wasn't
one.
blue.
No, and Beast was a regular guy.
Right. Which is weird to me.
Yes.
It's very weird.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Because I grew up with the cartoon show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. In that case, is Beast supposed to be kind of like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing?
Yeah, it was more
sort
like...
of,
Yes,
not really.
it invokes the idea, and it's definitely... Beast is supposed to make...
Like, they're at the same time, essentially. It's like, you don't get the two at the... You know what I mean? Like, it's...
Well, except that Beast never actually turned back into...
That's what I'm saying. So you're getting, like, the mind of Hyde and then the
body of
grotesqueness.
Jekyll.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Jekyll's mind, Hyde's body.
Take that, reverse it. Thank you.
Print. But everyone's costumes kind of look like this.
Oh, I like that.
I liked this uniform. Everyone had the same uniform. And then after a while, the professor says, you know what? You've all graduated. But you're not going to stop being X-Men. But you all should have your own identities. So that's when like their costumes started to become prevalent. Like when Cyclops actually got like a costume and stuff. And it was actually through like a training exercise that Professor X set up that the original X-Men, which is Cyclops and Jean Grey and everybody, got like fucked over on like a living island, that Professor X got a new team of X-Men. And they were called the New X-Men, and it was a big deal, and that was actually one of those iconic comic book covers of like the original X-Men, and then the covers being ripped open, and Wolverine, Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Colossus, Storm, and other characters.
Did the original X-Men return?
They did return.
And the other team is there?
And they were like,
and is
what
Professor
the hell?
X like, hey.
Yeah, he was like, oh, I thought you all died.
So I just...
No, actually, he recruits them to save the original X-Men. But...
I like my
That's a much better team.
Where he was like, alright.
Where he's like Professor Farnsworth.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not as good as my last team. Yeah. He just keeps replacing X-Men over the years.
He's like, you're new this, you're new that, you can have that room.
Right, exactly. Then they all come back. Oh! My X-Men! Welcome back!
Could everyone just go into the main meeting room so everyone I can debrief you?
Which is also known as the danger room.
Right there.
Hang on 1 second.
Yeah. I was expecting him wheeling away really fast.
Yes. I was gonna say, he's like, you graduated! Here's your diplomas, now get out! Or he's like, let's go to the meeting room, which is actually the danger room, and he just sets it on 1,000,000. Just kills them.
Alright.
Then it opens the floor.
He's like, alright, Chuck.
Yeah, okay, Chuck, how are we going to do this?
Here.
He's in the bathroom. Okay, Chuck, here's how we're going to do this.
I messed up real bad. But
I think I can pull myself out of this. I am a telepath.
I already said they died. They have to die.
Maybe I can believe that they died. I can make them believe it.
Yeah! And then they'll be dead.
Right? Is that how that works?
That's how that works.
It is not Days of Future Past. So, Days of Future Past is set in the 80s, because it takes place in the 80s. It's like 1980. It's like right in that cusp. And you can see the art shift from the 70s, 60s and 70s to the 80s.
That's cool.
But the first issue of Days of Future Past is actually a recap issue. It's right after the Phoenix Saga. Jean is dead. Or so they think. The first time. And they're having her funeral, and Cyclops has this internal monologue for the whole issue where he's like, wasn't always like this. And then he tells us what happened. And he basically just catches us up with X-Men continuity for the last 20 years. Okay. And you're like, and you're reading this and you're like, okay, Days of Future Past, here we go.
I don't know about you guys, but I have these quiet moments sometimes where I just recap my life.
Right?
I'm just like,
Wasn't always like this.
Wasn't always like this.
You know, when I first was born, here's what happened. And that's
that way, if anybody's listening,
yeah, they get a full continuity.
They're caught up on my life.
Exactly. And he really does, like, and he references things that are long forgotten from X-Men's, like, history, like when Professor X invented Cerebro, and, like, what it looked like back then, and, you know, stupid, like, cosmic characters, like, taking Magneto into space, and then, like, him escaping from them. Like,
is that an owl bear, where it's like a bear and an owl?
No, that's the Stranger. He took Magneto into space.
I'm sorry, what?
It doesn't matter.
Stranger danger!
Yeah, so this is when they all got their costumes, by the way, to look individual.
What's up with Shovelhead?
He is one of the many mutant menaces, like Mimic here, and the Super Adaptoid, and so forth. Despair, you know.
Mole Man.
Master Mold, you know.
Alright, I know Master Mold.
Yes.
Got one.
I know Mole Man. And Juggernaut.
Wait, is that Mole Man?
No,
or is that the Wicker Man?
That's Mole Man.
Oh, is this the Wicker Man? Is
Well,
that a poor Chewbacca cosplayer?
Yeah, that looks like him. There's the Scarecrow.
He is king of the weaker people.
So
He loves rattan.
So yeah, he catches us up with all this like irrelevant continuity.
But it isn't. I mean, I guess this is kind of a good jumping on.
It's a great jumping on point if you want to know exactly where the X-Men are 30 years ago.
This is really modern now, which means that some of art has circled around back to this kind of graphic feel.
Well, that's John Byrne.
But that's really cool.
As far as like panel composition and character like motion.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially with Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler is always in motion whenever he's there, because he's a teleporter, so he's always moving. Mm-hmm. He's also a very like acrobatic character. Yeah, I mean, he was a member of the circus, and he's a swashbuckler, and he uses swords. His method of like fighting, and so there's a lot going on.
Even with like using negatives, you know what I mean? That's really cool.
Yeah,
oh, that's so cool. And like you've shown me some older books,
and
while the art's always interesting to some degree, like this is like I'm just like I would question. Like, if someone was doing an homage to older art with this, but pulling in modern, like, sensibilities.
Right.
It's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Going on. I'm sorry.
So, and then we kind of catch up to, like, our ride-along character for the X-Men, which is Kitty Pryde. Which is funny, because nowadays, Kitty Pryde is, like, a staple. She's a major... She has been an X-Man, she's not been an X-Man, she's been brought back and renamed a million friggin' times.
Is she already Shadowcat in this?
Yes. By the time... Well, when we first meet her, it's actually just like the end of the first episode of the X-Men animated series, only replaced Kitty Pryde with Jubilee. Like, where she's, like... She leaves her family behind, she joins the X-Men, and she's like, gets a taxi cab, and she goes and she rings the doorbell, and then like her whole future is like waiting for her on the other side of the door. And Kitty Pryde's the same deal, only she's much more like 80s spunk.
Okay.
Rather than 90s go to the mall.
Yeah, rather than 90s mall rat. So then we've already established like Kitty Pryde is like the noob of the X-Men. And so most of the stories are kind of told from her perspective, and she's kind of like the protagonist of Days of Future Past, so it's kind of important for that.
Okay.
The next story after the flashback is Nightcrawler's Inferno, which is a story in which it's Nightcrawler's birthday, and they're... Oh, by the way, that first story, the recap, not only are they having Jean Grey's funeral, and Cyclops is narrating everything, but he also quits. He's like, I can't be an X-Man right now. Like, I've lost Jean... and I have to just make it on my own. So Cyclops is not a member of the X-Men. Storm has been made leader of the X-Men.
Okay.
So Storm's their like field leader at this point.
I can only assume that Nightcrawler's Inferno and his birthday party is the fact that he's so old there are like a billion candles on his cake?
No. Nightcrawler's Inferno is his birthday party, which is hilarious because the X-Men celebrate it in kind of a weird way.
This is right after the 70s, so it's like Disco Inferno. So Nightcrawler's dancing.
It's like Dante's Inferno.
Dante's Disco.
Everybody gives, like, they celebrate this. It's very, like, Thanksgiving-like. If you'll notice, there's, like, a fucking...
turkey?
It's like a Whoville smorgasbord. It looks like Nightcrawler's turning 21, according to the birthday cake topper.
Ooh!
I love the gift that Wolverine gives Nightcrawler. It's a large, framed photo of himself.
That's... I'd like to know, first of all, that is a ridiculously large...
Turkey leg?
Well, Wolverine's a little small.
Oh, that's true. Second of all, I know it's a surprise party, but they could have told him he'd have to wear his uniform all day.
No, but it's way cooler to see Nightcrawler in his costume.
I'm just saying, everybody else is like...
Is in their civvies, as they call them, yeah.
Nightcrawler doesn't get civvies.
No,
he's always blue, so he's like, no, I'm always going to be in this Nightcrawler.
It's also such a rad outfit. I'm so glad we didn't waste our time. There's also a weird character point for Kitty Pryde where she doesn't like Nightcrawler.
Because he's blue?
Because he's weird looking.
Like it's the three finger thing.
It's everything. It's the fact that he's blue. He looks like a demon, and he has three fingers, and
a tail.
Yeah, she finds him really creepy, and like Claremont makes every attempt every time she has an internal monologue, and Nightcrawler's there to say, like, I know I shouldn't have a problem, but he's so creepy looking. Like I can't get past it. It's weird, but kind of interesting to have one of your protagonists be like. Have such a hang-up on one of your other protagonists.
Like one of the good guys.
Yeah, and to have it be such a petty, weird thing that she should really get over because of the nature of the X-Men.
Yeah. And it's not like Nightcrawler has wronged her in any way.
No, and he's actually incredibly nice, and every time you see a speech thought bubble for Nightcrawler, he's always like, Kitty still hasn't gotten over how weird I look. I guess I'll just have to try harder to be her friend.
Oh!
Yeah, it's really uncomfortable.
That's sad.
Wow!
So, then Nightcrawler gets a weird present of a little statue of himself, and it blows up in his face and murders him. So Nightcrawler dies.
What?
So Nightcrawler dies, and they take him into like one of the X-Men's like recuperation chambers.
Best birthday ever.
I know. He literally gets this little statue. This is neat. Kaboosh! And it just blows up in his face directly.
Well,
and there's this moment where
that's Nightcrawler Inferno.
Yeah, he is infernoed all over his face.
Did they bamf his head away? Like
No, that's just like smoke.
Oh.
That's so you don't see how messed up his face looks.
Yeah.
Oh.
So anyway,
And not because of the explosion, just because he looks
it's just
weird.
so weird. So he
We are
dies,
Kitty Pryde.
and Professor X is like, "Whoa! Anyway, X-Men, hate to tell you this, Nightcrawler is no longer alive. I gotta make a phone call." And he
He's got to go find a new Nightcrawler.
exactly. I gotta make a phone call. So, what's another like name for a worm that I could give to an X-Man? So he calls Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange shows up. And Tiffany's excited because she loves Doctor Strange. But Doctor Strange shows up and he's like, "I understand you have need of my unique abilities." And they're like, "Yeah, because Nightcrawler is technically dead, but he's also not really dead. Like, he's not alive anymore."
He's mostly dead.
Right. It's basically that.
Two Blade!
Two Bam!
Yeah, there we go.
So, you know.
He was cheating at cards by teleporting cards around places.
So, Doctor Strange uses the Eye of Agamotto to see into him, into Nightcrawler. He's like, "Yes, it's true, he's not actually dead.
Okay.
His body may be dead, but it's only because his soul was taken out of his body and taken to a mystical plane that only I can enter." So then Doctor Strange and a bunch of the X-Men go into this mystical plane after fighting, like, Medusa Head, who was named Magdi. Or Magdi.
Okay.
I like Magdi.
Yeah, Magdi.
That?
Yeah, that's this chick. And she's like, "You will never have Nightcrawler back!
You will never receive the Necronomicon!
You'll die in the graveyard before you get it." Magdi fights Doctor Strange and a bunch of the X-Men, and then she winds up actually taking them into the dimension where Nightcrawler is as well. So Kitty Pryde stays behind to guard the base with Professor X. She is left alone to kind of just figure out, just kind of wonder what happened.
Well, she doesn't care about him anyway. What does it matter?
It makes a whole lot of sense why they didn't bring Professor X, because, like, how do you deal with a wheelchair in, like, this weird dimension?
Well, guess what? The weird dimension is hell itself. But
so the X-Men go to hell.
The X-Men go to hell.
Strange.
Doctor Strange and the X-Men go to hell. That's what this book should be called.
So hell is a real place.
Well, according to this, yes, but it's also entirely modeled after Dante's Inferno by Dante. Like,
that's
specifically
cheap.
In the point where, like, they go to the gate and it has the "Abandon Hope, ye who enter here," like,
that's really
quote,
cheap.
like, poem on the door.
What if you don't enter?
Well, they need to enter in order to find Nightcrawler.
I'm just saying.
But yeah, if
Well,
you don't,
just
then
call his name really loudly and hope he'll come out.
well, he
Kurt.
won't. He's not there. Yeah.
Kurt.
Yeah.
He's not.
No, so they find him, and he's like, "Whoa, what happened? I can't believe it!" And they all arrive almost around the same time. So then they go to hell and they fight demons and shit, and it's weird.
Oh my god, Doctor Strange just ran in there.
What do we do?
Well, save
Six of the Planet
X-Men!
chums!
So they go to hell, and throughout like their ordeal with hell. By the way, they go through like the levels, like they go to Malbolge and stuff like that. It's weird.
Okay.
But it's and throughout the whole ordeal, Doctor Strange goes, "This is very much not the way I imagined hell to be."
Imagine. I assume he's been there.
He has been to hell, so he's like, "This is not quite hell, but I don't understand. But I don't know where I am." You know,
Conveniently enough.
yeah, because the plot doesn't require me to know it until later.
So it's not actually hell.
He failed his
It's
perception
not
check.
hell.
Yeah.
It's not. No. Magdi is this like magic chick who was she had like a son in Eastern Europe, and Claremont and Burns' depiction of Eastern Europe is like a like 1700s like swashbuckling time.
Swashbuckling?
Yeah. And basically the idea was that like Nightcrawler was part of this like roving band of like Gypsy Circus, and he and, unbeknownst to him, Magdi's son wind up becoming fast friends. I think they become blood brothers in the story.
And then her son dies.
Yes, her son kills someone, and then Nightcrawler tries to stop him and accidentally snaps his neck.
Because I
Because
was going to say
Nightcrawler's
she
like-
probably blames him for her son's death.
She does.
Little did I know that he actually did cause it.
Yeah, he actually literally did cause his death. But she uses her. I think she and Doctor Strange's like Eye of Agamotto reveal what actually happened, because she had heard like Nightcrawler killed my son, but she didn't know like my son was a murderer and my son was trying to, and Nightcrawler was trying to stop him. So after she realizes the truth, she's like, "Okay, you know what? I'm sorry. That was my bad. I didn't actually take you to hell, by the way. I was just going to create a dimension that is like hell, a hell that you are familiar with because you're Catholic, and you were going to stay there forever.
That explains why it's so Dante's Inferno, because she's pulling from source material.
Exactly.
Okay.
So she instead immediately forgives him and kind of calls him her son, and says oh, and by the way, you can totally bang my daughter. And Nightcrawler's like, jackpot. So he does. And then the next story...
It's very bizarre.
He does.
It's very bizarre that her son looks like a normal human being when she
looks like a Medusa chick. Yeah.
And
has like snakes.
Slightly demonic.
Yeah.
And Kurt is also very demonic. And you're just like, you guys aren't related?
Yeah. And you know what's funny about that is that later on, when we're going to run into Mystique, and Mystique is kind of like knows about his encounter with Magdi. And you're kind of like, were you Magdi? But, Mystique doesn't have magic, so no. But Mystique is, in fact, his mom.
Yes, that I knew.
Yeah. So, there you go. Anyway, so, the next story, in Days of Future Past...
Yeah, is this leading...
No, we're getting there, don't worry. So, then...
Does the trip we just took into hell have anything to do...
with Days of Future Past? So then, Wolverine and Nightcrawler go to Canada. Don't worry, we're almost halfway through Days of Future Past. We're almost halfway through Days of Future Past. So then, Wolverine and...
When was the past?
Don't worry. Hang on. Stay with me. Nightcrawler and Wolverine decide to go to Canada because Alpha Flight attacked them once because Wolverine quit Alpha Flight, and nobody quits Alpha Flight, which is the Canadian Avengers, except they're all lame. So they're really the Canadian Avengers, because back then the Avengers were lame. And... Wolverine is hanging out at the X Mansion, and he's like, you know what, you guys? The Alpha Flight wouldn't leave us alone, so maybe what I should do is I'll go to Canada and I'll quit good and proper and let the bad blood settle with my former team. That way they'll leave me alone and we can move on, as X-Men. So and Nightcrawler's like, I'll come too because I'm right now very popular and that would sell more books. So Nightcrawler and Wolverine go to Canada. It's still organic though because Wolverine and Nightcrawler are becoming really close friends.
Okay, does Kitty Pryde stay behind and
guard the base?
Guard the base with Professor X again?
Yeah, she does.
Do we see that?
Yeah, they show us every once in a while.
It's so weird.
And then they go into the future?
No, they go to Canada and they fight Wendigo.
Who's a Canadian Sabretooth.
And he's a main player in Days of Future Past?
No, Wendigo fights Wolverine, Alpha Flight, and Nightcrawler, and then they figure out that, because, the Wendigo, if you guys are familiar with the Wendigo myth,
I am familiar with the Wendigo myth.
Is, you become the Sasquatchian monster if you are a cannibal in Canada. Or something.
I believe it is a Native American
mythology,
mythology, like a cryptozoology.
And in fact, there is a Native American representative in Alpha Flight named Shaman. Very sensitive, and
I thought it was going to be Warpath.
It's not. Warpath's dead. So actually, Thunderbird's dead. Warpath, his brother, is not yet an X-Man. So no.
Okay.
That's a costume.
Oh yeah, that's Snowbird. Snowbird's a member of Alpha Flight. She can turn into animals. And,
are they birds?
She can turn anything.
So why is she named Snowbird?
Because she's pretty, like a bird.
And white, like snow.
And she has this cute outfit that's like a cape, but it's also like feathers.
And a big V on her head.
And a big V on her head. So... and of course, Wolverine's hair is always a perpetual V.
Yes.
So,
for victory!
That's right! So, then... they fight the Wendigo, and Snowbird actually winds up taking down Wendigo. What? She turns into a bear and fights him.
Could she turn into a Wendigo?
She doesn't...
No! That would be blasphemous.
Yeah, that would be gross.
Just like she wouldn't turn into a Nightcrawler. How gross.
Exactly. Because who could ever get over how gross a Nightcrawler is?
I guess she's friends with Kitty Pryde.
Yeah. She turns into like a wolf. But and the wolf kicks the shit out of Wendigo. And Wolverine, who is...
you mean a wolf could kick the crap out of Wendigo?
And Wolverine
can't? What? Wolverine's having a hard time fighting the Wendigo.
Because the wolf's in the way?
No, the Wendigo's just really tough.
Because he respects the Wendigo?
No. He's just fighting.
Because he won't pop the claws?
No, it's just because they need Snowbird to fight Wendigo.
I was under the impression that Wolverine was the best at what he did.
Yes, and sometimes what he does is he fights Wendigo, and other times he lets other people fight Wendigo. You know, he's the best there is at what he's doing at the time, like making us cheese sandwich, or fighting Wendigo, or, you know, losing to the Hulk, or, you know, building a school named after a girl he never had sex with. You know, there's all kinds of things that he's great at, and in this case, what he's great at is passing the buck to Snowbird, to fighting the Wendigo, defeating him, and then she loses control over her powers, and so she's like a feral wolf, and Wolverine is the best at not going immediately to violence, and so he tries to, like, talk her down into turning back into Snowbird, which he does. Because Wolverine...
I'm sorry, I don't believe that at all.
No?
No!
Well, that's
Wolverine would never talk someone down.
No, well, that's the thing. He knows that too, and in fact, it's part of his character development. Like the big miniseries Wolverine by Chris Claremont, what some people feel is like one of the most definitive Wolverine stories of all time. It's a really great book. In that story, like, Wolverine gets married and stuff. Like, a lot of things happen.
To the chick over in Japan?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And
what's her name?
Mariko?
Mariko.
Or is it Yuriko?
No, it's Mariko. So. There's another chick named Yuriko that he also bangs, but no.
No, I know.
But that's entirely different.
That's a different story. So,
that's a story for another time.
Maybe. So, in that story, kind of Wolverine is trying not to be like, okay, I know how to solve this problem, snicked, murder. So he's using Snowbird's vulnerability as a way to build his character a little more. So he's like, okay, Snowbird, like, you're a good person, and it's hilarious because he's like,
that's why he let Snowbird attack the Wendigo. Because if he attacked the Wendigo, he'd be like, well, now I'm just ruining my rep.
Yeah. Well, he's
my
also
rep
like,
of
I'm
trying to be a good guy.
I'm really ruining, like, the self growth that I'm trying to
He's
get
also
myself.
ruining the idea that you would need anyone else but Wolverine if you don't let someone
true.
else win. I assume that him talking her down was like, I have been there. Like, I know.
That's what he's doing.
I understand the animalistic nature of the like, fighting, and like that's in me, and you got to control that, and like it takes over sometimes.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Hilariously enough, he thinks about talking her down more than he actually talks her down. We get 3 thought bubbles for the thinking about it,
and they're
then
huge.
The thing he says is, "Hear me, princess. Listen to me. Remember who you are, what you were."
Princess?
Well, because Wolverine also likes to talk to dames. Like, he's a private detective from the 70s.
Well, I was
Or
thinking
Han Solo?
I was wondering if she was a princess because of the crown.
No.
It looks like a crown.
Oh, no, it's a crown. Or a tiara, at least. No, he calls every woman he meets like a dame, a doll, a princess, sexy.
All right.
It's like Bub, but for girls.
We could be bubs.
So your boobs.
No, yeah. So,
I hate you.
So then, Shaman uses his Alpha Flight mutant powers to make the Wendigo revert back into a person and cure him of the Wendigo.
Why didn't he do that before?
Because the Wendigo was too busy, like, thrashing around. I think he needed to, like, actually, like, create the ceremony and, like, have him still for a moment.
It's called a tranquilizer gun.
Oh, yeah, they needed that big time.
It looks like
Wolverine's like, I got 6 tranquilizers right here. Ah.
Wolverine. Those are knives. Those are just big knives.
Trust me, he's really sedated now.
Yeah.
I thucked him.
Yeah, I learned this one for the
I stunned
tarantula.
him. He's been stunned. So, Shaman turns the Wendigo back into this dude. The dude's like, oh, thank God the nightmare's over. And Alpha's like, not yet. You're under arrest. Killed all those people as the Wendigo.
Even though you had no control over it.
No, but he
clearly
did-
you became the Wendigo because you were a cannibal.
He did voluntarily become the Wendigo.
By eating people?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's fair to be under arrest for.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
is the longest, thinnest cigar I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, those were very popular back then. It's also very Clint Eastwoody.
That's just a twig. He's smoking a twig.
He's just smoking a tree.
He's
Hang
trying
on
to
a
quit.
second.
It's
Snap.
Like, yeah.
This is much better.
So, Alpha Flight is like, well, anyway, Wolverine, you helped us take down the Wendigo. You're okay in our book.
Is this a pivotal moment that
Leads to...
Days reach past? Hold the phone, guys, because here it comes. Alpha Flight then goes to the Canadian government, and they're like, so, you wanted to meet with us? And the Canadian government's like, we can't afford to keep Alpha Flight as a government arm, so you're all fired. But I hope that this experience doesn't sour you on Canada and doesn't stop you from being superheroes in Canada, because we really need you.
I don't think Canada would do that.
Right?
I'm pretty sure Canada would just be like, look, we can't pay you. but, we'll give you, maple syrup.
Well, I think that's kind of what he says. It's just that, he fires them, and then he's like, but, I hope you don't actually, leave. It's just that, don't expect, a paycheck for being Alpha Flight.
Well, yeah, we'll pay you in syrup.
Yeah.
So
then Alpha Flight is disbanded in 1980 for, a few minutes. And
then...
the Blob, an old member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, originally formed by Magneto, is rescued from prison by Mystique, who has reformed the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, but she's in charge now.
And Alpha Flight's involved?
Not at all.
And the Wendigo.
Alpha Flight goes to stop
them. Not in any way. Nope.
And Magdi is involved?
Magdi does not appear anymore in this book. So then we're in the future. The far-off future of 2013! And it's Days of Future Past, where a older Kate Pride, who is too old to be called Kitty or Catherine or whatever, she's Kate Pride, she's wearing a mutant power inhibitor collar in the ruins of what was New York City. And she's bringing medical supplies back to Sentinel Home Base because she's like a slave to the Sentinels who have destroyed Manhattan. This is literally all the context that has been given to me when I first read it that I'm giving to you. That you were thrown in the deep end of Days of Future Past.
Okay.
And Kate Pride is like, man, I've got some plans, shit is coming down, but I hopefully won't die on my way back to Sentinel Home Base because I got these medical supplies and I have a crucial mission that's going to take place today. And then some rogues, not to be confused with Rogue, member of the X-Men.
Is this Kate Pride?
Yes, the one who looks like Willem Dafoe, that's Kate Pride. But that's because she's old, you see. And women who are old are gross looking, according to John Byrne.
Well, and Willem Dafoe kind of looks like an old woman.
Yeah.
Especially when he dresses like an old woman in Boondock Saints.
She wouldn't be that old.
No, she's 13 and a half, which they mention at least 4 times in this book.
It's not the age, it's the experiences that she's had to go through.
It's not the years, it's the mileage.
During Days of Future Past.
All right.
Which we've seen so much
No, it's 1980, it's 2013, so she's what, 46?
46.
And a half. And
whoa! After 30, you stop counting halves.
Well, I think after 5, you stop counting halves. But in this book, she's 13 and a half. So anyway, she's attacked by rogues. Not the X-Man rogue. Yeah, she kicked him. She thucked him. Yeah. She's attacked by rogues, which is like a roving band of thugs / marauders who dress vaguely
like Native
American.
And Alpha Flight's involved?
No Alpha Flight. Forget about Alpha Flight.
But Cyclops comes back after he quit.
No Cyclops. He's not back either. No Cyclops. So then Wolverine shows up, and he's all old, and you can tell because he has some white in his hair.
Well, he was in the other stories.
Yes. Wolverine shows up, he rescues Kate Pride, and he's like, don't friggin' die. We still have this major plan we have to get, going. So then she brings the medical supplies. By the way, the medical supplies she got, she's sent out wearing the power inhibitor collar to pick the bones of New York, find shit that we could use back at the concentration camps.
So the power inhibitor collar allows her to go out without being recognized?
No, it allows her to go out without using her powers. She's just a person running around out there.
Is that bus being
what help does that give her? Or is it because the Sentinels don't want her using her powers?
The Sentinels don't want her using her powers. She's a slave. But they also are like, we need people to go out and get shit from.
Why can't the Sentinels do that? They're robots. Just send a fucking million of them.
That's a great idea. I don't know. So
because then you don't have total control.
Exactly. I do love this image. This is one of my favorite images, and unfortunately, it's given a quarter of the space of one page with no color of a Greyhound or a Lakeland bus being pulled by horses.
It's really cool.
It is really cool, and you get to see. This panel is recreated the way you want to see it in the upcoming Secret Wars. Days of or Years of Future Past.
That's cool. Does she have a big M on the back of her?
She does. That's how you know she's a mutant.
Not through the power inhibitor collar.
No.
Well, that could just be fashion.
Yes, she has to wear these ugly, unfashionable green jumpsuits and yellow boots.
Whoa. Let's not say unfashionable. Let's just say that they aren't as flattering as they should be.
Fair enough. So then she meets up with Storm, Rachel Summers, who is Cyclops, and Madeline Pryor, who's pretending to be Jean Grey's daughter, who will eventually become her own Phoenix, and Franklin Richards, her husband, in the Days of Future Past future.
Well, can he fix this?
No, he can't, because he's wearing a friggin' inhibitor collar.
Oh. Also...
Yeah, also everyone's dead.
But they're not really. They're just in in a
state of hibernation.
No, they're in
Are they stunned?
No, they're in another place that somebody
created. No, forget all that. None of that had anything to do with Days of Future Past. It was all just in this story for no reason. No reason at all. It's just because Days of Future Past is literally 2 issues. 2?
Are you kidding me?
No, it's 2 issues. It's like 30 pages.
What a goddamn ripoff!
I know, this epic thing that everyone hangs their hat on for
the amount of book we have left is not 2 issues.
No, it's not. And we're gonna finish it.
Oh, god damn it.
So anyway, the plan is not unlike the movie, in that they're like, okay, Rachel Summers, who is a telepath, is going to use her telepathic powers. First, they're going to get past the inhibitor collar; they have to break it or whatever, and they're going to use the telepath powers to send one of the X-Men or one of their team's subconscious or consciousness into the body of their past self. But they can't pick any of the regular X-Men because professors trained all their brains to protect themselves from psychic attack. It's a trick that Professor X taught everybody. But Kitty Pryde was too young and too inexperienced to have gotten that training yet, so she is susceptible to the mind overwriting that Rachel Summers is going to do. So
why don't they send someone back to before they got that training? Like someone a little bit more capable.
Because most of them are dead. The new
Wolverine's not.
No, but Wolverine also is like 150, and he's like probably got other things. He also had that Swiss cheese memory from like all the implants and shit. Like he's a hornet's nest. He only works if it's a movie, because those sell movie tickets. So they send Kate Pryde back into the younger body of Kitty Pryde.
Okay.
So we're back to but way back when I first read this, I was gonna cool, we're gonna go back to the first issue of this story, right? No, it's just another adventure in the story of the X-Men.
We literally don't touch on any of the issues that you just explained.
No.
Especially the giant background issue that Cyclops won us.
No, that was literally just a fill-in issue.
We don't jump back to when she's at home guarding the base with Charles because everyone else is off doing something else.
In the, Dante's Inferno dimension? No.
Or when, X-Men, Wolverine and Nightcrawler go to Alpha Flight?
Nope.
No?
No, none of that. Mm-mm. So...
Does she refer to herself as Kate instead of Kitty?
Yes.
Okay, that's the one cool thing that she brings back with her.
Yeah, and so the idea here is Senator Robert Kelly is a political moderate. He has a problem with mutants. He's kind of like, mutants are an issue because they're people born with powers and they don't necessarily have control over them, and they could do anything with them.
It's like if someone bought a gun.
Right, or was born with gun arms. So, he has an issue, but he's also not an abject racist, like most of these characters are, who are, in opposition to mutants or who are interested in the mutant registration. But Robert Kelly is going to be murdered. And when he's murdered, his death will galvanize the country into accelerating the Sentinel program and electing another crazy jackass president, and he will, push the Sentinel program even further to the point where they're going to kill anyone with superpowers, and so everyone will originally it was going to be they kill mutant, or they're going to round up mutants. Then the Sentinels, start to misunderstand their programming, and so they see, all people with powers are a problem, and then they see all people as a problem, and so Sentinels have kind of declared war on the United States.
So the Sentinels are the issue. It's not the fact that, there's a government that is using them.
No. The government facilitates the Sentinels' rise to power, but it's the Sentinels who are actually the problem.
Do you mean that Skynet just gained
self-awareness?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 years before Terminator, by the way.
Ooh.
But the idea of robots destroying humanity isn't altogether new.
Right.
I mean, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
So their plan is they're going to stop the assassination of Robert Kelly because that's the only thing they know is what's going to happen. Incidentally, Moira McTaggart and Professor X are they're in D.C. watching Senator Kelly explain, how he's I don't really know all the sides of the issue, but, mutants, there might be an issue. But that's why we have famed geneticist Professor Charles Xavier, whom we all don't know is a mutant, is here to help us, explain the other side of the story.
He's a geneticist.
Yeah. According to this, he is.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Well, it makes people believe he is.
He's an expert in genetics.
What are you? I'm a geneticist.
Yeah. I'm also an architect. So
and a marine biologist.
So she is. Oh, by the way, Kate Pride is well over Nightcrawler's like weird looking problem.
Okay.
Like that's another.
That's a
connection.
thing.
There you go. So when Kate Pride overwrites Kitty Pride, she wakes up and she's like, "Kurt, you're alive! Oh my god!" She gives him hugs and he's like, "Wow, nice, all right." And she's like, "Okay, everybody, stop what you're doing. I'm from the future, and everything's gonna get fucked. Let's go." And they're like, "We have no choice but to believe her."
Good.
So they do.
It's much better than not.
That's so unexpected.
Yeah, they're like, well, that sounds. She's really fucking serious about it, and Kitty's usually pretty airheaded, so yeah, all right, let's go. Well, I mean, we're in Westchester. We just hop in the Blackbird. It'll take like 20 minutes to get to DC. We'll just go. So
okay,
they do.
That's reasonable.
That works.
Yeah, and Kate like explains to them the future, and meanwhile they're like, that might not work. Like, what if our plan of sending Kate into the future or into the past doesn't work? So they're also sending a contingent to destroy the Sentinel's home base because
they're going to befriend a Sentinel and then send it back to protect Senator Robert Kelly.
Time travel only works in that you can send a consciousness back in time using telepathy.
All right.
So,
because the mind can break the time barrier,
right?
Not the body.
No, at least as far as they know. Later on, the body can, but that's like another story. The problem is the Sentinels have really only taken over the United States, and the rest of the world knows that the Sentinels are coming for the rest of the world. So everyone in the world has all their nukes ready to go to blow up the United States.
In the future.
In the future.
Okay.
In 2013. So the...
in the far-off distant
future. 2 years ago! So the X-Men or the survivors are like, the world's going to nuke us unless we stop these Sentinels and tell them not to. So they send a small contingent of wheelchair-bound Magneto, who actually can't go because he's in a wheelchair, so he stays and guards the base.
Well, he could just make himself hover. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
It's Magneto.
He doesn't. No.
Does he have a collar?
Yes.
Oh.
So Wolverine, Colossus, and a few other characters who die go to the future or go to the Sentinel base to take over.
All right.
And so I like that idea too. That like they have to stop themselves from nuclear annihilation by stopping the robots, like in Terminator. So. Kate Pride and the X-Men go to Robert Kelly's speech. The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, led by Mystique, are there. There's also another character named Destiny, who's this weird-looking chick character, who can see the future of people's she can see people's futures, but she can't see Kitty at all because Kitty is from a future that she doesn't understand, she didn't recognize. So,
okay,
so
or whatever, an alternate timeline.
Yeah, or something. But in any case,
but isn't that everyone's future?
Yeah,
is a series of decisions in alternate timelines.
Right, but her mutant power is that she can see them.
It's because her consciousness is from out of time.
That's really what
it is. So therefore,
it's yeah. So the X-Men or the Brotherhood shows up. They blow up the wall and they're like, "We're gonna kill you, Robert Kelly," and then the X-Men show up.
Which is no!
And they're like, no, you won't! And that's where the timeline changes. Because originally the X-Men don't show up, and the Blob and Pyro and Avalanche and Mystique and Destiny kill Robert Kelly.
Destiny does it too?
Yeah, she's part of their team.
Oh, wouldn't she be able to see the future?
She sees their futures, but she doesn't see that far into the future. She's not this will kill everybody, hooray!
It's 10 minutes in the future.
Yeah, it's more
oh, you're gonna burn your mouth on that Hot Pop.
Yeah, she's that, yeah.
Thank God.
So,
that would actually be incredibly useful.
Yeah.
I would never bite my lip or my tongue again.
No, it's right.
Maybe you would, though. Maybe there's no altering it.
Yeah, you're like, damn it, here it comes.
That would be really shitty if you could see the future but you couldn't change it.
Yeah. So,
it's a curse.
Professor X is or Moira McTaggart's whoa, what's happening? And Professor X is don't worry, Moira, it's actually Kitty Pryde from the future, and she's displaced their body. I know it sounds crazy, but I use my psychic powers to contextualize what's happening and save us some time. So, okay, anyway, just go with it. And then they do. And they fight the fucking Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. And by the way, it's hilarious because they're you're not the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Magneto runs the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. And Mystique's yeah, but I am now. Get over it.
Mystique's
yeah, Blob is really unhappy that he's part of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. He's I don't take orders from a dame, and she
Are you kidding me?
It's silly.
Then she knocks him around
This is written in the early 80s, right?
80, yeah.
Seriously?
Sal, who is this Who is this chick on your right talking?
I know, right?
Can't you just let us have a conversation?
But
Jeez.
the funny thing is, like, that's the point, is that, like, they're showing that the Blob is a toolbox. And, like, Mystique gives
And so is Ben!
Yes.
In that instance, when I was characterizing.
Right, yeah.
No!
Ultimately, I think Destiny is, like, gonna kill Robert Kelly. And she's got, like, a gun trained on him or whatever.
Alright.
And Kate Pryde, in young Kitty Pryde's body, does a move that young Kitty Pryde would never have done because she didn't learn enough yet to stop Destiny. I think she phases through her body and, like, moves the harpoon.
Is she wearing something on her face?
Yeah, it's like a meta mask, golden mask.
Oh, she can't see anything.
Yeah, she's blind, but her Destiny powers
allow her to see.
So does she know she has, like, a boob window, or what?
I think that's probably...
You're going to be a little chilly right here, I'm pretty sure you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
That's probably her design. So
That
anyway,
she's like, I have a cold heart.
yeah.
That's why I'm in the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, because my heart is always cold. Should we just tell her that it's a little piece of her costume that's missing?
Yeah.
No, we need her.
Oh, we need her. Otherwise, how will we know how to escape? So, Kitty kicks his ass, and then her ass, and says, "Senator Duck!" And then Kelly gets out of the way, doesn't die, and then she immediately starts going back to the time that she came from. And it's weird because, like, in the description of it, they're like two consciousnesses, and they pass each other. So, like, young Kitty's coming back into her body.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Young Kitty was displaced into
the future, but we don't see any result of that. Like, we don't see, like, young Kitty going, like, "This is a crazy place!" Like, she's just unconscious. So, like, but ostensibly, it's like Quantum Leap, in that Sam's consciousness goes into that person's body, and their consciousness goes into Sam's body.
Okay.
That's the implication I got from it.
See, I never knew that, the other person's consciousness went into Sam's body.
Oh, yeah, no. In fact, like, when he displaces, like, Elvis, for example, he goes back into into Sam's body, and then, like, Elvis puts on, like, a little concert for the people at Project Quantum Leap.
But in Sam's voice.
But Sam's also a great singer, so it works out great. Because Scott Bakula is a Broadway-trained actor and can sing and dance and do many things. Steal Our Hearts, for example, because he's so great. He's just such a great actor. The two consciousnesses, like, pass each other.
Okay.
Like ships in the night.
Did they wave?
They kiss each other.
I was literally going to make the joke that they make out a little bit, but...
No, old Kate Pryde gives young Kitty Pryde, like a psychic kiss goodbye. Like, because she thinks, like, maybe I'm being unmade. So I'd, like...
I always want to know what it would be like to kiss myself, so
weird.
might as well.
But, like, with a 30-year difference.
Yeah. But it's like, why would you say that? Like, why'd you put that in the book? So then, like, she wakes up with the faint feeling that maybe she was kissed by her older self. And you're like, okay. And then Robert Kelly is like, okay, so here's the change. Robert Kelly goes, "True, the X-Men saved my life. But if mutants didn't exist at all, my life would never have been in jeopardy. So, fuck mutants, I'm totally on the right now, and I'm gonna team up with Trask and Henry Peter Gyrick. We're gonna create a Sentinel program and start Days of Future Past."
So they didn't change a thing?
Maybe.
That really doesn't make any sense. Like,
No.
Why would...
And eventually...
It's because you can't change your destiny!
Right.
That's it!
No, what is just proof to that there are good mutants in this world?
Yes.
Both good and bad.
Yeah,
Just like there are people.
He even says that, but he's like, but if there weren't any mutants...
Yeah, and if there weren't any people, then they wouldn't have any problems.
Right, but if I didn't have any people, then who would I have sex with? So, like, no, that doesn't work. But if I have no mutants, screw that, because I'm also not one of those.
Look, except not screw them, because I don't want to screw them.
No, well, unless they're hot. But I still want their powers to go away. So anyway, it's dumb. And then the X-Men are like, whew, that was crazy. It was just another day in the life. It was a two-parter.
So this does nothing. You never see the future result of what happens.
Later you see it. Yeah, later they retread Days of Future Past.
And Bishop shows up?
That's Apocalypse's future.
Wow.
That's not the Sentinel future. Although Sentinels are in it, it's Apocalypse's future. So
they did nothing.
So they did nothing. I mean, like, kinda they did, but like...
Well, no, they didn't!
Well, no. Now they've created a future in which Robert Kelly continues, in which he isn't dead. But he's also
And still creates the Sentinel program.
Yes.
So we still get Days of Future Past.
Well, we still get Sentinels. But, like, it doesn't happen at the same time, so it's like Terminator 3.
Of course it happens at the same time.
No, because, like, the Sentinel program is actually accelerated.
What does it happen? Oh, it happens earlier.
Yes.
So we get it even sooner.
Right.
So even less mutants, and even less prepared mutants, can fight the Sentinels.
No, because...
And somehow they win.
Right. No, I mean, yeah. So
throw my hands up in the air about this.
during the future story, like they all fail. Like every character, like Franklin Richards dies, and
oh right, the people who were like
the people who are
storming the
gonna
gate.
Magneto dies. They do a fastball special, which is one of my favorite moves, where Colossus takes Wolverine, he throws him at a Sentinel or at a person, and so he pitches Wolverine at a Sentinel, and the Sentinel just blasts him and melts his flesh off of his stupid adamantium skeleton, and then just clang, dead. Because Claremont's not gonna do that single cell regeneration thing. Because nobody thought of that yet. So, like, and Storm dies. I think he throws a javelin through her.
Who?
The Sentinel. It's like, thunk. So then the next story is a Christmas story. Where...
What?
Yeah.
No, we're done.
These stories are cool,
Right?
but why the hell are they in this book?
Because
Well, I mean, you can't just sell
two.
2 books.
No.
You call it Days of Future Past.
That's not a trade paperback.
I kind of understand the recap
Right?
I don't.
with Scott, because like if you're picking this up as a jumping on point, like with their whole like Stanley's like every book is someone's first book. Mm-hmm. With going with that philosophy, it would make sense that they would put that in there
To give you like some context for where the X-Men are right
But
now.
it doesn't point them in any direction.
No, but I'll give you that one. But Kurt going to hell, which establishes Kitty's dislike of him, but that's it. And the Wendigo story
Yeah.
and the Christmas story
Uh-huh.
don't really seem to affect anything.
No, they have
and now
nothing to
maybe
do with
I'm
it.
wrong because I don't really know much about the deep history of the X-Men. It just doesn't. It just seems like Marvel just wanted to sell a book.
Yes.
Because this is an
And you
iconic-
gotta get Days of Future Past out there. Like, I should be able to get a copy of Days of Future Past without having to go back and find back issues of it.
I agree.
Well, it's an iconic cover
Oh, yeah.
in the idea of it, but at the same time, like, this is kind of a ripoff. Fuck this.
Yeah.
And even the story of Days of Future Past sucks.
No, it's pretty cool.
I do like
It's just
it.
there's not. It's just that like if they had like stretched it out, if maybe like the length of this book had been the length of Days of Future Past, where like we really embellished the story where like Kitty has to convince the X-Men to help her, and like maybe if the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants were interesting, or if they did something cool, or if it wasn't just they literally like it's not like they go to like. They actually adapt Days of Future Past for the X-Men animated series, and they bring in Bishop. They like tie in 2 different time travel stories.
Yeah.
And in that one, like Bishop kind of takes the place of Kitty Pryde, where he has to like have that band on at all times that keeps him tethered in the past. If he breaks it, he goes right back to the future. In that one, Mystique is still involved in the assassination of Robert Kelly, but she impersonates Gambit to like sow
That's
distrust
right.
in
That's
the
right.
mutant population. So, and it also sows distrust within the X-Men. Because Bishop thinks that Gambit's the one who killed Robert Kelly.
Yeah.
And, in fact, Mystique pretended to be Gambit for no reason.
Because everyone forgets that there's Mystique.
Right.
I will
Because
say
everyone
the-
forgets about
Do you
Mystique.
see this?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That's how much of that story is.
This is Days of Future Past.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like 30 pages.
I will say, the only thing I like about the story is the fact that Kitty says, "No, I'm from the future," and everyone's like, "All right, well, let's do this."
Yeah, you know what? We
There's
fought
no-
space aliens.
There's no bullshit.
No, we fought the Phoenix. Like, Jean's dead, Scott quit. I get it. You know what? Let's go. All right, I'm down. That sounds about right.
It's like, what harm could it possibly do us to at least go and check this out?
right. They just go. Like, she's not like we have to murder one of you. Like in the cartoon version, Bishop's like, one of you is going to betray the X-Men and cause the end of the world, and I have to kill one of you. Like, that's a problem.
And he's like, and I can't remember who it is, and then Gambit walks in, and he's like,
oh,
it's
it's
you!
Gambit! Yeah, and they're like, no, you can't kill him. And then there's conflict. In this one, it's just like, someone wants to go to D.C. Okay.
To stop an assassination.
Like, I guess maybe that'll happen. And it's hilarious that the assassination is just that these characters, like, show up and they're like, we're gonna, like, I guess punch you to death. Days of Future Past is a really fun, for me,
Excerpt.
for me, it's a throwaway story that Claremont was like, I need another story. You know what'd be cool? Like a future story. Like maybe he read some Philip K. Dick and was like, yeah, that's kind of cool. I could put that in my X-Men book. Like, really that was like at the extent of it. And then it spiraled out into this like, what a cool future where like, especially if you're a huge X-Men fan and you see like on those gravestones like, oh shit, like Captain America, Mr. Fantastic, like no one survived but a handful of X-Men.
Proving that the X-Men are better than any other mutants.
Yeah, or any other
or their superpower team. Like, better than a super soldier.
Yep.
Better than people who got changed by cosmic rays.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's also, it's a cool future. Who doesn't love post-apocalyptic futures? Oh, in Wolverine's first adventure, like the first appearance of Wolverine was in an Incredible Hulk comic in which the Hulk fought Wendigo and Wolverine. Wolverine
and Snowbird took down Wendigo.
Not in that book, no.
No, I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, no, she did not.
So Snowbird could take down the Hulk.
I think that's what we're saying. Here.
No, because Wendigo didn't take down the Hulk.
Okay.
It's not a power meter like where, you know, if Wolverine can beat Wendigo, then that means and Hulk can beat Wolverine, then that means that Wendigo.
But I mean, the Wendigo took a punch right to the face. He's still going.
Yeah, Wendigo's a tough motherfucker, but like.
But Snowbird's tougher than Wendigo.
But Snowbird, well, she lost her humanity. Like, you know, she lost her mind.
So it's like Hulk, Snowbird, Wendigo, Wolverine.
No, I think it's Wolverine, Wendigo, Hulk, Snowbird.
Well, we've never seen.
No, because I think that because he throws him.
Because Hulk beats Wendigo.
Yeah.
No, Hulk just throws Wendigo away. Like a piece of trash.
Yeah, Wolverine and Hulk team up and they defeat Wendigo in that first.
Oh, so then Snowbird is the top.
Yeah,
right.
That's cool.
Because Wendigo can be, or Snowbird can beat Wendigo on her own.
Right. I'm really looking forward to what they're doing with it for Secret Wars because I actually saw a publication that was explaining Secret Wars as Civil War, and number one, the creative team on that looks really awesome. Number two, whatever they do with Days of Future Past will be a lot cooler than what they did in this. I'm not like I'm not saying I didn't like it. No, and I love Byrne's art, but it's not it's fleshing it out will be really cool.
I know. Ben said he's not a fan of the Days of Future Past story. I do like it. I think what annoys me, what makes me so like, what the hell, is everything that they put in around this book. Yes. Like in the trade.
Oh, yeah.
I like the story.
They Trojan horse a lot of random
X-Men books. It's really weird. And it's not even like they put Days of Future Past at the beginning, and then...
Well, no, because then you throw it away.
Right, and then here are other stories. And like, here are some other X-Men stories.
Yes.
They act like that's like 100% necessary, and while sure, like if you've never read X-Men before, it helps to establish the team and like what's going on.
And their universe.
You also know like what the tone of these books is going to be.
But like if I pick this up and I'm like, ooh, Days of Future Past, and I'm like,
and you get half of the
hell is
you get
Days
through
of
the Alpha Flight
Past?
story. Yeah.
And they're all different, and you're like, this is just discombobulated.
Yeah. There's no reference to it, by the way, in the Christmas episode. At no point is she like, I can't believe I was displaced by my older self. Like nothing.
That's really weird. There's not even a forward where they're like, hey, we added these things in.
No!
Meh.
Which is amazing, because you like, I love those, by the way. I love the forwards by like the original art, or like writer, who's like, here's some thoughts I was having when I was doing this. Like, no. Anyway, there you go. Days of Future Past. Sorry.
This is why I like the X-Men cartoon show.
No. We need to do something with that show.
He said this is why I like it.
Oh, yeah, it's a great show.
Yeah.
Oh, solid, yeah.
No, I'm telling you, I like the story, I just don't understand this trade.
Oh, no.
And that's...
It's weird, and this is like one of the newer trades.
I don't know who did this. Who did this?
I don't like the fact that you don't get to see what happens in the future.
Oh, yeah. Well, like, later on, they touch on it, but, like, at this point, Claremont doesn't care. He's like, whatever, that story's over. Like, move on.
But it's not! You started with that!
I guess it's because they wanted to put a Claremont trade together, because they could have done Days of Future Past and then throw in, like, more modern stories that, like, continue that on, and that just would have been the Days of Future Past trade, but they might have called it something else.
Yeah.
But they wanted it to be a Claremont book.
Right. That could be. I don't know. It's bizarre.
It's really bizarre.
Well, here you go. Days of Future Past by Claremont and Byrne. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. And hey, if you want to see more episodes of Back Issues, you can click the citation bar here to see them. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I am Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ben.
You just watched Back Issues on ComicPop. We'll see you next time. Bye. No, it's not done yet. There's still a full issue.
Wait, Ben! This is where it's like Dickens.
Yeah, we got a Christmas Carol after this.
Is it really?
No.
Oh.
Well, it is in as much as it's a story that takes place on Christmas. And the story is, so Kitty Pryde's Jewish and everyone else is Christian, so everyone leaves for Christmas except for Kitty. She gets to stay back and guard the base on Christmas.
With Professor Xavier.
No, Professor X takes the X-Men out.
And then the Wendigo shows up?
No, and then an interdimensional alien that they had thought they had defeated the race of one of them like escapes and kills some people, and then goes to the X Mansion and fights Kitty.
And then learns the true meaning of Christmas.
And no, she kills it.
And then these aliens affect the Sentinel program?
Not in any way. No, the alien just bugs Kitty, and Kitty it gives chase to her throughout the X Mansion, and then she lures it into the hangar where they keep the Blackbird, and she turns on like the afterburners on the Blackbird, and it vaporizes the alien.
But Kitty then talks to one of the psychics, like Professor X, when they come back, and tells him to put her subconscious back in the past.
No.
So that she can warn everyone not to leave for Christmas.
No, that doesn't happen, because it doesn't matter, because like everyone comes back shortly thereafter. Because one of the problems was like Kitty was lonely on Christmas. She's like, I'm Jewish on Christmas, nobody's around. She calls her parents, they're not there.
Where the hell are they?
They're not there, they're not on the phone. It's back when like there was no voicemail.
Right, but where did they go?
Where'd they go? They probably went to a Chinese restaurant or something. The movies.
Why didn't they invite her?
Because she's fucking in Westchester, New York with the X-Men.
Where are they?
They're not there. They live far away.
They're not going to talk to their mutant daughter.
Wait, isn't Nightcrawler there?
No, he left with the others because he's Catholic.
No, but can't he bamf her over to them first before he leaves?
He left already.
Well, it just seems inconsiderate.
It is. Except when they come back, they've come back with Kitty's parents. She couldn't reach them because they were with the X-Men, like coming to the X-Mansion. So they can celebrate Christmas with their...
So they needed to make her feel like shit?
Yep. So they can celebrate Christmas
with their Jewish friends.
That's the true meaning of Christmas.
Yep.
Is imposing your holiday on other people.
Yeah.
And then that was the day that the Sentinel's heart grew 3 times?
Right. No.
3 sizes? Is that what happens? And then they don't kill the mutants?
No, that's when Trask's heart grew 3 times. And he lifted up the whole Sentinel program and threw it up
in the sun or something.
Right off the side of Mount Crumpet. Okay.
Yeah. No.
Oh, wow.
That demon thing is awesome.
Yeah.
That's the alien. It's like eating those people.
Yeah.
Is it a xenomorph?
It looks like a xenomorph. It actually also looks like a brood.
It's a xenobrood.
Yeah, no, there's a
broodamorph.
There's like a couple that's going to cut down their own Christmas tree. They just got married and they're having their first Christmas together and they're cutting down a Christmas tree and then
What the hell is happening in Storm?
Oh, it's a dream.
Oh, she knows it's coming?
Yeah.
That's weird.
No, well, she doesn't know it's coming. It's just more like, I don't know.